DiJonai Carrington took some wild shots at Caitlin Clark, her fan base, and pretty much everybody on Twitter that supports CCFC.
One moment, that's all it took. A split second during live play turned into one of the most talked about controversies in women's basketball this season. Cameras caught it, fans froze it, social media dissected it, and suddenly, one player was at the center of a firestorm she never expected. What happened next didn't just shake the game, it broke something emotionally, and when the apology finally came, it came with tears, pressure, and a league watching closely. But this wasn't just about one play. It was about optics, intent, and what happens when the spotlight gets too bright. And the story only gets more complicated from here. The play itself happened fast. Too fast to fully process in real time. Bodies collided.
This eye poker. DiJonai Carrington slipped through the cracks with a secret interview, man. Now, this interview went down about 2 weeks ago. Now, in this interview, she talks about CCFC. She talks about the fan base. Now, we know DiJonai Carrington, from the outside looking in, is not a very nice person. Now, I don't know her personally, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys don't, but some of the things that she has been doing and saying kind of don't really look right. So that's why I'm assuming she's probably not a nice person. Now, with that being said, she definitely isn't a big fan of Caitlin Clark. She falls in the criteria of like the Asia Wilsons, the Angel Reeses, and pretty much the Cheryl Suits of the world.
Arms moved instinctively, and then Caitlin Clark went down, reacting immediately to contact near her eye. No whistle delay, no dramatic pause. Just chaos unfolding in seconds. At first, it looked like another rough moment in a physical game. But replays told a different story, or at least multiple versions of it. Zoomed-in clips began circulating online almost instantly. Fans slowed the footage frame by frame, drawing conclusions, building narratives, and choosing sides. And right at the center of it all was DiJonai Carrington. Whether accidental or not, the visual impact alone was enough to ignite outrage. And once the internet locks onto a moment, context becomes optional. But the reaction that followed was far louder than the play itself. This wasn't just any player involved. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie, she's a phenomenon. Every move she makes is magnified, celebrated, criticized, and endlessly replayed. So when something happens to her on the court, it doesn't stay on the court. Within hours, timelines were flooded with hot takes. Some called the play reckless. Others insisted it was basketball, nothing more. Former players weighed in. Analysts broke it down. Fan accounts turned it into a moral debate. And then the comments turned personal. DiJonai Carrington became more than a player in that moment. She became a symbol, fairly or not, of a bigger conversation about physicality, jealousy, and respect in the league. The backlash grew fast, and it didn't slow down. But what people didn't see at first was what this was doing behind the scenes. Not long after the incident, Carrington appeared visibly shaken. According to interviews and public statements, the weight of the reaction hit harder than the play itself. The messages, the accusations, the assumptions. Then came the apology. When she addressed the situation, her voice cracked, tears surfaced, and the emotion didn't feel rehearsed. She spoke about intent, about never wanting to hurt another player, and about the toll the situation had taken on her mentally. Some viewers felt the apology was sincere, others weren't convinced. Online debates erupted again, this time questioning whether the emotion was real or forced by pressure. But one thing was clear, this wasn't easy for her, and the timing raised even more questions. While the spotlight burned on Carrington, Caitlin Clark stayed mostly quiet. No dramatic statements, no drawn-out responses, just brief, composed remarks when asked. That silence spoke volumes. Some fans interpreted it as grace. Others saw it as strategic. A few even speculated that behind the scenes, things had already been addressed privately. But speculation is just that. What mattered publicly was how the contrast looked. One player emotional and apologizing, the other calm and focused on basketball. That contrast fueled even more discussion about power dynamics, media framing, and expectations placed on players. And the league found itself stuck in the middle. As the controversy grew, attention shifted toward the league itself. Fans started asking questions. Was the game too physical? Were referees doing enough? Is there inconsistency in how plays like this are handled? Some argued the league should step in more aggressively. Others warned against over-policing the game. The incident became less about Carrington and Clark and more about what the WNBA wants to be moving forward. A tough, physical league, or one that draws clearer lines? Every answer seemed to divide fans further. And then the rumors started swirling. Online, speculation took on a life of its own. Some posts claimed the apology came only after league intervention. Others suggested behind-the-scenes conversations pushed the narrative forward. None of this has been confirmed. Rumors suggested pressure from sponsors. Reports claimed internal discussions within teams. But again, these are unverified claims, fueled mostly by online chatter rather than solid evidence. What we do know is this: the emotional cost was real, regardless of what caused it. And once a player becomes a target of mass online criticism, the effects don't disappear overnight. Still, fans wanted closure, and that's where the story starts pointing forward instead of backward. This moment will be remembered, not just as an incident, but as a turning point in how moments like this are discussed. Players are more visible than ever. Mistakes or perceived ones are magnified instantly. For DiJonai Carrington, this may become a defining chapter in her career. For Caitlin Clark, it reinforces just how intense the spotlight around her has become. And for the WNBA, it's another reminder that growth comes with scrutiny. But the biggest question remains unanswered. Have we reached a point where players are judged more by viral clips than full context? In the end, this was never just about a single play or a moment of contact during a heated game. It became a mirror held up to the league, the fans, and the culture surrounding women's basketball right now. One split second turned into a viral storm, and suddenly intent didn't matter as much as perception. Emotions replaced facts, clips replaced context, and pressure replaced patience. DiJonai Carrington's tears weren't just about backlash. They reflected what happens when a player becomes the center of a narrative they can't control. Apologies today aren't just personal anymore. They're public performances under a microscope. Every word, every expression, every pause gets judged. And once the internet decides who you are, changing that story becomes almost impossible. At the same time, Caitlin Clark's calm response showed the other side of the spotlight. Fame doesn't just protect you, it isolates you. Silence becomes strategy. Composure becomes survival. And even when you do nothing wrong, you still become part of a larger controversy simply by being who you are. This incident exposed how fragile the balance is between competition and criticism, between passion and punishment. The WNBA is growing fast, but with that growth comes a new kind of pressure that players weren't prepared for a decade ago. The game is faster, the audience is louder, and the consequences are heavier. So the real question isn't who was right or wrong in that moment. The real question is whether the league, the media, and the fans are ready to handle this new era responsibly. Because if one moment can break a player emotionally, what happens when the next one comes? And it will come. The next clip, the next controversy, the next apology. The only thing left to see is whether we've learned anything from this one.